Welcome back to Thanks for the Trauma. Today we're going to be talking about living in chaos. We're going to talk about different animals. We're going to talk about hoarding, neglect, and our unsafe living environment that we lived in. And we have so many stories and so much to share. And I think that's where we're going to start today. What do you guys think?
I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just, like you said, there's so many stories, and it's just like, where do you start?
Exactly.
Where do you really start to, like, take pieces from our past and, like, try to really explain it to people who, like, give them, like, you know, an image in their mind and, like, just really try to give them that image, but how we describe it for them.
Well, I think that I think in the very beginning when we were first growing up, we had 2 dogs and stuff like that, and everything was fine with that. We had Ginger and we had, I think, Koala.
Well, I think people also think when they hear animals, they think like a cat, a dog, maybe a few cats or a few dogs. It is beyond that.
Yeah, because we had exotic animals too. But I'm just saying, in the beginning, when Mommy was just in the picture, we only had 2 dogs, like what anybody would have, like So we had the 2 dogs. But still, the dogs would go to the bathroom, all over the house and everything like that. And then we got cats.
And we had Snow, and we had this one.
Exactly. And then I think what had happened was JR moved in with us. And we had already had some dogs, and we already had some cats and stuff like that.
We got chickens.
Oh, we got chickens.
We had chickens in
we
the
had,
project.
Yeah, we had chickens. Yeah, I remember that. We remember chicken
Our
coop.
neighbors hated that.
In the beginning, we had like just little mutts, like dog-wise.
Yeah, dogs.
And then we were introduced to Great Danes. And then we were introduced to quiche hounds, which we were like, what the hell are quiche hounds?
Oh, and
there was that fuzzy dog.
Real fuzzy dog, but also the white dog.
Was it Tara?
Tara, and
Yeah, which that was really sad.
That was sad.
When the abuse that he really abused the dog, and then tried to get the dog to like act like the dog was trying to run away, when the dog couldn't run away because the dog had broken legs.
Well, that's
the dog.
Yes, but isn't that when she came back, because she's the one that ran away and disappeared, and he made I pay for her.
Oh, I had to pay too, because it was like one of us who left the back door open.
And then she came back like 8 months later.
It was like 2 years later.
I don't know.
One of our neighbors was like, "Hey, that dog that went missing is right around the corner," and we were so excited to see her.
Yes, like, and also and then he broke her legs.
I thought it was before that he broke her legs.
It was after she came back.
Yeah. But also, I think, so we're going to go to the very beginning. I think when he first moved in, we just had regular animals, just regular animals and everything like that.
House pets.
Like regular house pets. And
domestic house pets. Yes. We'll call them domestic, because that's what they were.
And then I think he started just getting like the chickens for outside and ducks and whatever
because
like that.
Because we wanted to raise our own eggs.
Yeah, so we can have our own eggs and stuff like that. But I would have to say the very first time that I saw him do the thing that I was like, there's something out right here. You know what I'm talking about? With the cat. I'm talking about the beginning. Yeah.
Oh.
So what? Go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead. You do it.
So I would have to say is that he was so tired of this little white cat getting in and out of the dryer, and stuff like that.
He did that twice. He did this twice.
Okay. I would definitely remember one time that he did it, but he's like, he was just so tired. He had to keep checking the drawer to see if the cat was in there. One time we saw the little cat just laying on some warm clothes in there.
This was also done on Lusher Street.
Yeah, and he's like, that's okay. And he's like, I'm just going to fluff dry the cat. And that's what he said. Yeah, that's exactly what you just said. That's what he said.
The cat.
And he killed the cat. And then
turned it on and killed the cat.
And then that is when, and this is probably another reason why I have a problem with death and stuff like that. Not that I'm scared of death. I just don't like to handle anything like that, because once that happened, that's where we start collecting Christmas cookie tins. And we used to put because you used to just bury the animals in the backyard and everything like that. But then the animals would start ripping up the backyard. So that's why we had to start putting the dead animals in tins. Yeah. And then burying them in tins.
Yeah.
And then also, I remember when we moved to Lusher Street, we didn't have a backyard. It was all concrete. Like cement. So they would tell us you have to go to the cemetery and bury. So we actually, at your dad's grave, we probably have a couple of our dead animals there.
Yeah.
Is that legal?
That's a great question.
So in Philadelphia, you could do it.
We were
in Florida, you
underage.
cannot.
So-
Yeah.
So we didn't do anything like
Yeah.
that.
So like you mentioned my dad in the graveyard. Well, when we moved on Leicester Street, my dad's grave where he was buried was lit like right behind where he
Yeah.
lived.
And
So-
you weren't even allowed to go there to
Yeah.
visit your father.
But I still
But sometimes I think you did.
I
we
still
did
went.
stuff-
I
we
still
stuck
went with
there.
friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I would have to say, so then once we moved to Leicester Street is when he started getting more into him and mommy, because mommy started working at a pet store and everything like that, and he would come and help out sometimes at the pet store.
And
I
every
think
time he came home with a new
it would
pet.
be a new pet. So tell me, just name 3 of the pets that you remember.
Girl, I could probably name more than, let me see. We had the hissing cockroaches. We had the black and white tegu. We had the Gila monster. We had birds. Hold on. We had the blue and gold macaw. We had
African gray.
the red macaw. We had the African gray. We had.
There was another little bird by the front door.
Hold on. We had the cockatiels. We had
Maybe that's
the
yeah.
cockatiels. Yeah. We had
We had snakes.
hold on. I could keep going, girl.
Ferrets.
We had the ferrets. We had the pythons. We had the big yellow python. I think he was a python too.
What one was in the middle room on Leicester Street? There was
There was quite a few snakes.
lizard or like something that had a bedroom to itself.
Yeah, because
Right?
because I think that one was like, I think they actually got that one from the black market.
There was
Like, I think that
the
was something-
alligator was upstairs.
We had an alligator.
We had an alligator.
So I don't.
Yeah, and then because he had 2 of them, and he got one's dad. And then he had one up there.
So I would have to say. So you had all of these animals, and how many kids and adults living in a 800 square foot?
Five kids. Well, 6 because
6
his
kids.
daughter
His daughter
moved
lived
in.
with us.
So there were 6 girls, 2 adults.
We can't.
We didn't get to the dogs yet, but
Yeah,
at
we didn't
one
get to the
point
dogs.
there were 40.
I don't think it was that many. I think it was like 20, 25 poodles. Toy poodles in the basement.
In the basement. But what about upstairs?
2 poodles used to walk
No,
around.
in the basement. I mean, upstairs.
That's what I'm talking about. Silver and Baby ran around upstairs.
Okay, in the kennels upstairs.
No, there was no dogs in the kennels upstairs. They were always in the basement.
I can't
We had
remember.
like 6 kennels.
I stayed there.
Yeah, exactly. I was there a
Okay.
lot. There was, I don't even know, like we started out with, when mommy worked at the pet store,
Okay.
I remember like she fell in love with Baby, a toy
Mhm.
poodle, and then they realized how much money they could make
Yep.
breeding their own toy poodles.
Yes.
So a Baby came home, and then I don't know if it was Silver
Silver
or
and Baby.
Was there Mongo?
Mongo.
Mongo.
Mhm.
Mongo stayed in the basement in the kennels.
Yep.
He was only used to mate the
Mate
dogs.
the dogs.
Silver got to run around with the
Mhm.
bigger dogs, and Baby got to run around. But
What happened with Teddy?
I don't know with Teddy. But
Mm-hmm.
from Mongo, there was Snuggles,
Mhm.
because Snuggles was my dog later
Mhm.
on, and there was another dog
Mhm.
that we kept Baby's puppies so they could breed more poodles. So those, Baby, like there was like 2 babies that helped. There was a lot of poodles.
Yes.
But they stayed in the kennels. Like if you walked into a pet store and you're looking at a dog, that's where they live.
Yes, so they
Hold on,
originally.
but what about the Great Danes that were
Let's
upstairs?
talk about the poodles right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so listen. So I think this is a good point, because originally she was working at the
pet
pet store, and they thought, hey, this is a great way for us to make a buck and everything like that. So then they set the basement up originally just with the cages that they would put the dogs in.
Yes.
But
There
then
was like 6. I don't know if there was like 6.
There could have been like
kennels. I think there was 6
6
kennels,
or 8, whatever.
and they
But-
all had.
But these poor
Poodles.
dogs,
They didn't.
unless we were down there, because that was our bedroom down there, they only came out of those cages when we were down there. But then it got even bigger than that.
Yes.
And that's when they brought someone in, and they had
put the metal
They put
fences
they put the 2 fences up
and
to
divided them.
divide them, so they have females on one side, male on the other side. And those dogs were never see the day
they
of life.
never
because
went outside.
they never went outside because they did not want anyone to know how many animals or how many dogs we had.
Mhm.
So the only dogs
people would hear the dogs
Yes.
barking.
They
The
would hear-
neighbors
they
would walk by and hear them.
Yeah, but they would
nobody knew.
And then he would let them mate, and then there was more, and they would keep some of those from litters, and then there was more.
Like I feel like Mommy has always been a hoarder, but like that was
of course
that was another level of hoarding. Yeah, and then like you're talking about neglect. I mean, we were neglected, but these animals were neglected worse than us because, like, I mean, we had the better deal. We were able to go outside, get sunlight. Like
they never had sunlight. They didn't get their shots. They were dewormed, and they got their first shots, if that's what you want to call it. But just to be sold off.
I'll be honest too.
It was a puppy mill.
But yeah, so we had all these animals and all these snakes, iguanas, and all this other stuff. But every time I think about these dogs, what I remember is just the odor and how bad the odor was. And I think that's why odors affect me so much. And I think it affects all of us so much. But what was
say all of us? You mean the three of us?
Yeah. But what was, and I'm telling you, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. We did not clean it with bleach. We did not clean with.
Yeah, I know what you're
saying. It's the most disgusting stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Is it Corinne?
Oh my gosh.
It was.
It's gonna come to us.
It's gonna come. Yeah, it is.
I thought it began with a K. It was the
nasty. Oh no!
It was the nastiest.
It's so nasty.
It was supposed to disinfect everything.
Disinfect everything,
but it's the most nastiest smell.
It was the worst smell. Like, I mean, dog smells really bad, but this stuff was so bad.
We're gonna have to Google the name.
Yeah, Google the name. Curlian?
Yeah,
something like that. Something like that. I don't know. I think it was called that. We'll have to find out. We'll have to look it up to see what they would come up.
Was it like a brown bottle?
It smelled so bad, and they swore that it would take the odor out
of everything, but it just really made us even smell worse. So we already smelled so bad because of all the animals and everything like that. Cigarette smoke. How filthy the house was.
Also, when those fences got taken out, and those fences were put in, and those where we were sleeping at got taken out, and those were monkey boards. It was probably about as thick as this table and as hard as this table.
Yeah.
And that's what we were sleeping on.
Instead of
those monkey boards got taken out and those fences went in. So now we were sleeping on the concrete. And every time those dogs peed or pooped on that concrete, it would just run right onto us.
Is that why they started doing like the hamster stuff?
Yes,
the wood chipping.
Yes,
the wood chip.
The wood chip.
So they would put that in because it would absorb the stuff and everything like that.
And that's when we start sleeping in the water troughs.
Like I feel like I mean just even dealing with this, like really coming out and talking about our story, like. It had me, like, I don't know, in a shower a couple of weeks ago thinking about the poodles and what they went through living in cages and the kennels and, like...
What kind of life were they living?
Yeah, my heart was, like, I don't really feel like I dealt with that part of our past. And then, like, we witnessed some of those poodles dying because of heat stroke because there was no air conditioning in the basement.
No. And they had fans.
We would have our dryer and washer going, and then like no one, like they were just dying, and we were like, "What's going on?" And I think they did take one of them to the vet to find out. No, it's heat stroke.
And I bet you the only reason they probably took that one to the vet was probably because that one was pregnant, and they were going to make money off that. And I think that also brings another point into like when you were talking about some of these animals that were dying, and some of these birds that were dying. He would keep these animals in the freezer.
Yeah, once they died. To feed to the other snakes. So we're talking about Gila monster.
I don't think he kept the animals. Not like the dogs. He didn't feed those to death.
No. He didn't feed them. But I think if I remember, like if it was a really special dog to Mommy or something like that, Mommy did keep that. And I remember the gray African gray. She kept that in the freezer. But I think the reason
we got blamed for that. The door opened and they got a breeze and then it died. Like something.
But why keep that in the freezer?
So the thing is that I know in the beginning in the freezer. So I know in the beginning we were just putting the dog in the freezer until it got dusk so we could go to the cemetery to bury the dogs. But Mommy and him, well, I don't know if he really had he'd never really had a favorite animal. I don't think anyway. But anyway, Mommy kept that one poodle in there and she kept the gray, the African gray in there. Well, besides that, another thing that we didn't talk about is what did these animals and Yeah, animals and lizards and snakes. What did they eat?
They ate the rats that he would kill and put in the freezer.
But when they were at the pet store said, "Hey, do you want dead rats or mice?"
Yeah.
And what did he say?
He said, no, he wanted them alive because
So why?
he would kill them.
What would he do? Though?
He would slap their bodies on the table and then snap their necks.
It was the kitchen
Snap.
counter.
It was the kitchen counter
Yeah.
tray. He would
Because
just
we didn't have a kitchen table.
yeah,
let's
no
be
kitchen
real.
table.
Yeah.
So he would just get the
Yeah.
rat or the mouse by the tail, hit it on the thing, and then just crack
snap
their
their
neck.
necks. Yeah.
And he would laugh.
And he would,
remember-
it's just like, it's,
he would
you
laugh
know,
about
he's just
that.
so, because I think about it, like, he would use our bowls in the kitchen, because I don't know why he
And then
did
he
this.
would defrost. Yeah.
Yeah, but then also he would dip the dead animal in an egg mixture. I don't know why. I'm like, or some kind of mixture like that. And then he would drop it in for the snake or whatever like that. And then you mentioned about the hissing cockroaches. You do realize that he only started with 4 hissing cockroaches.
There was 2.
There was only 2.
Okay, there was 2, but
He thought they were. I think they were cool looking, but
I
they
mean,
looked
and then they
freaking
just multiply.
cockroaches.
I mean,
They
yeah,
just multiply.
so he was so, and this
Water
tank.
water. It was a water tank.
It was
a fish tank. It was a fish tank.
tank.
But he had it sitting on our microwave in the kitchen, and probably he had Vaseline around the top of it, so they couldn't get up. They couldn't get up, and they had a cover over it, so
This
they couldn't
way,
get
when
out.
they crawled up, they would just slide down.
He got to a point where there were so many of them and everything like that, and here was like, in a sense, trying like wanting to kill. He went and got bug spray, and he sprayed a whole bunch of in there, and then he covered it with some trash bag.
That was years
later, but
after we had them
for so many
because
years.
he wanted to get rid of them.
But just because he wanted just to see them all trying to run up to try to get out of there, try to escape.
But this is a man of dysfunction and sick and delusional. He was also like he was sick. He was, and I'm not justifying anything he did, but I mean, look at everything around. I mean, the chaos that he had put us through. He broke the walls down.
And then we wind up getting
I mean, we had rats, we had mice in the house. We had them crawling all over us
as we were sleeping. And that's another thing. If you remember, you and our older sibling had to go in the backyard and catch water bugs.
Yes.
To feed to his to some of his insects. I mean, to some of his lizards or whatever they were. And I mean, I just can't imagine. And I don't know why he had you in that one, and like we didn't have to do it. It was like so odd, wasn't it? He never had you go out there to do it. I never went out there and did it.
We had to,
so I'm just like, why did he have you?
Because he preyed on certain ones.
We're talking about, hoarding. So now, was that considered hoarding animals, or was she collecting animals? Were they making a profit? Did he have them because he wanted to abuse them? He felt that these animals were at his control. He can kill them at any time. It was all about control and hoarding and manipulating, and it was. Do you guys remember? Besides having the water trough. 2 of them in the basement. There was a water trough in the living room.
Yes.
So our living room only had 1 couch, 1 chair, and then we had like 3 different.
The water trough first was in the living room because of the black
and white tegu.
Yeah, the black lizard, and we did have one. I don't know, a kitten that would walk across the top where the light was, and sometimes would fall in, and we would have to grab it before it got eaten by the lizard. Like. That's where that's where I remember it first being, but then I think it was moved downstairs later on.
That's when the second one came downstairs.
Yeah, because that's where we would put our clothes.
Yeah, and then we start getting we start getting smart, and we used to start sleeping on, so we had some cushion to sleep in, and probably that's another reason why our clothes smelled so really bad because of being downstairs, with all the animals and everything like that.
Well, we also had different animals that we didn't talk about. Dog wise, we had, you said the Great Danes, we had a German Shepherd. I know we had another male dog in the backyard in the projects, because I remember the one year there was a huge dog fight.
Oh yeah,
because you had the one dog who
they were locked. They locked
but you had the dog out back who that was
German Pinscher. I think that's what they're called.
Doberman
Pinscher. Yeah,
but. That dog, that was his area. He was an outdoor dog, never came inside. And then was it Phantom?
It had to be. It's the white dog, you think?
Yeah, I think it was Phantom. The Phantom was inside. And I think it was Koala. I don't remember these dogs. And like I remember Koala going outside. I don't know, just a huge fight happened.
Yep. And they locked me.
And they just like the fight was outside and came inside the house. Like I just remember screaming because nobody could separate the dogs.
Yeah.
And then the very next day, that dog that was outside was kicked out. Like he kicked the dog out of the house, and the dog stayed out front of our house on the doorstep
so many days,
for a few days, and eventually just disappeared.
Do you remember the time that the dog? There was somehow the dogs in the backyard set off. They were gone, and the fire department was called because somehow the dogs broke the propane tank,
something
the gas tank, and it was spraying out everywhere, and none of us knew how to do the fumes, and
they had to come.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, I have to say that
we were home alone again, obviously underage, and the fire department came.
Sometimes,
yeah.
But
I think, to be honest with you guys, even throughout, I would have to say my late teenage years into my early adult years, that's when I became like a vegetarian too. I couldn't eat anything from like a freezer or anything like that. And, because I always had that thought of the dead animals, and it made our food taste funny, or even the ice cubes taste funny. So I just could not like eat anything from a freezer for
That's funny.
many years.
I don't eat any meats from the freezer.
I know. It's
weird. So you said there was the gray, what was it called again?
The Keyshawn?
No, the dog. I mean the bird, the parrot.
Oh,
the gray.
An African gray.
The African gray. I know the African gray was in there, but I know
swore she put baby, didn't she?
No. Baby.
Or maybe baby had a baby or something?
No.
This puppy, this poodle, I think it was like a teacup.
The tiny one that ate the tinsel?
Yes, that's the one.
That one in the freezer.
I feel like, I don't know if that was the very first little poodle we had, or that was the second one they brought home. And the puppy, it was a teacup, and the puppy ended up getting... I don't think it was a teacup, honestly. I think it ate tinsel from the Christmas tree.
And she died, and we never had...
And nobody knew what happened.
Tinsel.
Well, can I ask you something?
And then they put it in the freezer.
But see,
we did have Lady. Lady was the teacup.
Yeah, but
Do you know what? That poodle?
Yeah, but
I just thought about her name, Lady.
What I'm confused about is I don't even remember. I think only living on
I blocked all their names out.
But listen, on Lesher Street, I only remember one time having a Christmas tree.
Oh no, I don't.
No,
I remember quite a few times.
We had it.
Okay.
I think when
where were they
screamed at me and said there's no such thing as Santa the one day because I wanted to go. It was Thanksgiving. And I was like, I want to go to Thanksgiving parade. And she just screamed at me about, there's no such thing as Santa Claus. I do everything. I'm trying to cook dinner. And that's how, like we talked about before, how she would yell at us and scream things that we shouldn't learn that way.
So, you know what? And this is another crazy thing, too, I think. Even after Mommy separated from JR, she still had that same thing of hoarding, but it was just dogs she hoarded. And she got so many, and then even when she moved
Chihuahuas. Well, actually, Rottweilers, because the one, I don't mean to cut you off, we had, because I lived with her, we had the Rottweiler. The Rottweiler ended up having puppies, but then the Rottweiler died. She had a bad heart. And then Mommy and my stepdad at the time, because
this is another stepdad we didn't talk about.
She kept the puppies. She kept the puppies. And then later on it was the Chihuahuas.
So then she moved to Florida, and then she got into having the small dogs again.
Yeah.
And so she's always had a lot. Like she was not the type of person that could only have one or two. And I think that's why
happy with just one or two.
I think maybe that's why, she had 6 kids. She had a total of 10 pregnancies. And I think she probably would have had more kids if she was able to have more kids. But she got her tubes cut and tied, which I think was a great thing. But that's why she had so many, like when she had things, like, or whatever, she had multiple things. So she was hoarding these things. And I have to say that towards the end of my dad's life, because my dad actually moved to Florida, and mommy let him live in her house and everything. My dad had gotten a really bad bacterial infection. And we had to go to the hospital, and the hospital's like, hey, listen, it's something related to where he's living, So myself and our older sister went over to Mommy's house, and she actually snuck in to the back of the house to get into the house. And
Wait, Roy lived over there in
Yeah.
that area? I
no,
thought he
Roy
just lived
didn't.
here.
No, Roy didn't. My dad?
Yes, your dad.
No,
He lived over there.
He lived
on the West Coast.
Yes, he lived.
Yeah.
He had his own. He had his own room
Yeah.
because he was living in Philadelphia, but the place he was living in Philadelphia was not really good. Well, this place wasn't even really good. But anyway, my point is that when we went into Mommy's house, we were shocked. There was like 52, 53 dogs.
Mhm.
And within 1 month, we moved my mom, my dad, and them all over to Orlando. And then we gave so many dogs to this place, to this shelter here. We gave so many dogs out everywhere.
Basically
and
gave her an ultimatum.
Yeah, we told them, we were like, listen, the hospital, we're going to go tell the hospital how you're. What?
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, that happened too on Lesher Street, where like you helped get rid of you and your husband at the time. I mean, at the time, still your husband. You helped get rid of all the poodles that were in the basement, and I was like 20-something poodles, and here we are trying to find
54
homes,
now.
and then again, repeat. You're doing it again. What? 15 years later,
and then we get you over to Orlando, and guess what she does again?
Same thing again.
Same thing again.
And that's when I cut off from her.
But in Orlando, she didn't have.
No, she had 25.
She had 25.
Listen, I peeked. I was at my mom's house the one day with my kids. Yes, I walked in. There was shit, piss all over from the 3-4 chihuahuas running around. And they weren't there.
Because the other ones were locked up.
Yeah, Mommy was not there, but everybody else was there. I went into the room because it was the girls' room, the twins' rooms. I looked outside that was supposedly Mommy's room.
A Florida room.
And because I was like, why are they barking? And I looked and it was like 20 chihuahuas barking at me. And I was like, fuck this, I'm done. And I took my kids out and Mommy came pulling up and I was like, you haven't changed. You're always going to be the same person. I am not allowing you to be around my kids anymore. And that's when I walked away. Because I was like, I'm done.
And that was over by my neighborhood.
In your neighborhood. Yeah. I was just done. I mean, like, same thing over and over.
The cycle.
The broken insanity cycle. You cannot continue to do the same thing over and over and over and expecting things to be different.
So and
that, to me, that was my trigger.
Yeah. And another thing that I thought about too is that she had her house over in Newport Richey. And I think about when she sold her house and the people her house was condemned and everything like that.
Yeah.
But
Tiffany said there's only brand new houses all there.
But what's really crazy to me is I think those people, because they were mobile homes back then, those people, and I think this was the pet cemetery.
Yeah.
There were so many animals that was buried in her backyard. Like, I cannot even tell you how many animals. And I could imagine, like, someone that bought that land and stuff like that thought, wait, is this a pet cemetery? And I'm being serious that they probably thought
had like to call a crime scene and make sure.
Exactly. So, like, I mean, this is like, I mean, growing up, like, I didn't know there was a term for this, but the OCD, like, we're like cleaning all the time. I would come home from high school because this was after her and our JR broke up. I would come home. I would clean the house because we had like 3 dogs. We kept 3 of the poodles at the time. I would clean the piss and shit that's on the floor every day. That was my life. And it's because of the way we grew up. And I'm like, no, I want this house to smell clean.
Yeah.
Like, it's not normal. She was never there. My stepdad at the time was never there.
Where were they? Casinos?
She was working usually, or they were.
Well, he never worked.
I took care of myself.
He never worked.
But like every day, like I remember coming home with my friend the one day after school, and I opened up the front door. There's dog shit on the floor, and that to me is embarrassing. And I'm like, clean up. She didn't think anything of it, but like every day, I didn't have,
because the dogs were never trained. That's another thing. So you think about that. That's neglect.
They were told they never went outside, and if they were outside, they didn't know.
So, and that's another good point that we were talking about how the dogs were neglected. But do you guys remember when we were kids and we lived in the projects, and 5 o'clock in the morning, when he had that mentality, if I'm up, you all are up. and we would all run to go pick up the biggest, to get the smallest pile of
because
poop.
they would just go in the house.
Because the dogs were never allowed outside, and there were so many
Great
dogs.
Danes.
They weren't allowed outside.
Anyway.
And I mean, we even like this. We didn't even talk about this. Like in the projects, when we did have our bunk beds and we had our rooms, like our JR would just do like a surprise clean, and he would go into our rooms, and whatever was on the floor, he would throw it away. But before he threw it away, he would cut everything up. Like, I mean, I had like my favorite little outfit, and he cut that up. Like, we barely had fucking clothes,
but he cut them up,
and he cut them up to try to teach us a lesson. Like, you need to clean up after yourselves. Listen,
when the rest of the house wasn't clean.
But the middle bedroom was used for fucking ferrets. Ferrets ran around the middle bedroom. The other bedroom was for them. Downstairs had all the, the big dogs.
And here's 6 girls in one room.
But I remember. So anyway, when you were working, bagging stuff when you were early age, I remember when I got my first job. I was 14 years old at McDonald's. I got my first job. I had to give them half of my paycheck, and they were telling me that they were teaching me responsibility of taking half of my money and stuff like that. And there was like,
that's the same thing when I went to Burger King and I was 13. And
I think 13, 14, you had to give them half of the money and everything like that. But we lived in these conditions and stuff like that. But what I was saying about the dogs,
we had to buy our own shampoo, our own conditioner.
Women products,
at the age of 13.
Yeah. But the other thing about the dogs, there was a point that I was making about the dogs. So now that I have my own dog and everything like that, I know, hey, listen, you don't let your dog eat after a certain time. And then you take your dog out at night.
They're on a schedule.
They're on a schedule, and they go outside. And guess what? You're not going to have the accidents. But because he never wanted the people to see how many dogs we had,
they never went outside.
They never went outside.
He was caged. Fat and lazy.
Okay, like we didn't even get into like how we felt caged. These animals physically were caged. Like you didn't get into when you guys were punished and you were caged in the basement where you couldn't leave. Well, these animals were caged in the basement. They could not leave the basement.
Yeah.
They could not go outside.
Their lives.
The one day I remember nobody was at home, and I was like, I'm taking you guys all out one by one. I took the dogs outside to the backyard, and like there was like 20 of them running around, so happy to be running
I couldn't imagine.
And that was like the first time I think they've ever
gotten outside.
I mean, it took a while, and then I took them all back downstairs. But
I could never imagine like not taking Binks outside. And I mean, I could not imagine. I feel bad if she is in the house for more than a certain amount of time while I'm at work. I'm like calling my neighbors, texting my neighbors, could you please take her out?
Yeah.
Like I could not even fathom.
Like, I mean, I had Bella. Bella passed away a few years ago, but Bella was my baby.
I couldn't even fathom.
I can't even imagine putting her through any of the stuff that we saw our animals put through.
Yeah. For the longest time, I never wanted an animal. No way. Because I was so traumatized about animals.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point that you were just mentioning about us having the OCD now. Like, how extreme that we are with like odors. And like if we walk in somewhere and we smell an odor, it's like house.
Now we have to go back home and clean our house.
We have to go.
We can't. It's a trigger.
It's a trigger to us, and our house isn't even dirty. It's just that we have to go back and do it, like try to do it even harder and better and stuff like that. And I still many years. I had to have like my sodas and everything in the refrigerator facing the right direction. Ways. Everything in the cabinets the right direction. Towels had to be folded a certain way. Things had to be done a certain way. And over time now, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't have to.
As soon as people come to my house, I invite them in, and I'm like, sorry, my house is a mess. I apologize. Yeah. And people are looking at me, and they're like, what? You know? And I'm like, oh, my God, I apologize. They're like, Tracy, you could eat off your floors, you know? And I'm like.
Or, like, even, like, for me, back, when I was married and had a big, huge house, whatever, when I cleaned, I was moving furniture to get underneath the furniture, and then the house would be rearranged, and my ex would walk in like,
what's wrong with you, right?
Yeah, like what the fuck? But it's
mental.
It's mental. Like, yeah, it's physical, but then it's mental because like it's just like
it's the way we're dealing with the abuse that we had when we were younger.
And I think that was another reason why it was really great for us to move from Philly to here, because like you were saying, like triggers. Because anytime, I know your dad's buried there, but we go to your dad's grave and stuff like that, and we think about how many animals are buried with him at the
I
grave.
never thought of that because I didn't know that part.
The Leicester Street, when I look at Leicester Street and stuff like that, I think about, the basement, the dark basement. I think about the refrigerator, with the dead animals in it, going to the projects, so you have all these triggers and stuff like that. And I think the reason why we were able to heal so much, and we're still healing, is because we're not in that environment anymore. We don't have those places that we're seeing anymore.
But I mean, we got away from those places, but we were surrounded by people who continue to live that lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But we also have people that were there to protect us. Like, I know our neighbor across the way, like, if it wasn't for her, like me.
Are you talking about Leicester Street?
Leicester Street. Like, and
yeah,
we could beat this out, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind. Like, Joan, if it wasn't for her, she was a lifesaver for me.
Because you had a safe place to go.
Because I had a safe place to go. She was like my safe haven.
Yeah.
And that was like everything to me. Yes, she knew I wasn't going to school, but she knew what I was going through in that house. She may not have said it, but she knew deep down inside what was going on.
Yeah.
She was protecting me.
So we could definitely say that JR abused the dogs. He beat dogs. He pretty much killed dogs.
Yeah.
He killed a couple of creatures. He killed cats.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what, I know that he grew up in dysfunction also because his mom and stuff like that abused him.
He told us
as a child. And I remember one of the stories, a glass was thrown at him, and that's how he got the really bad cut on his face. But I just think because he never got the help that he needed, it was just like that again, that cycle. And I think when we moved to Florida, we came down here and we were like, hey, we want to break these cycles. We don't want to live in this anymore. And I think that was the time when we, separated from mommy and everything like that. And we really focused on us getting the help that we needed, and I'm so thankful that we did that.
Yeah. It took years still. Like right now we have healed a lot, but we're still processing a lot.
Yeah. I think processing. And also I think you run into triggers all the time.
Yeah.
Or you see a person and you're like, oh, I can imagine the type of life they're living or something like that. Or you see someone that doesn't have something, or,
Okay, this is a great example. I was sharing with somebody, one of the soccer dads a few weeks, like, maybe a month ago. And I was like, my kids don't have chores. And, most people don't understand. And I'm like, and then I explained me coming home every day as a young teenager, starting like 14 years old, coming home every day, cleaning the house. I didn't have I didn't have like a social life. I didn't have any of that. So like, I'd rather my kids have a social life. They're going to learn how to do dishes. They're going to learn how to make a bed.
No, but
they're going to learn how to do all that. Like, I know it's good for them to have chores, but you know what? That's my trigger. And like, I mean, he made the connection. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. I didn't think it like that. That's why do I make them clean up sometimes? Yeah, but not like, you better do this before you do that.
Well, no.
Not like Cal was throwing at us where, going and taking every dish out of the cabinets and making us wash every single thing because we didn't do it right the first time.
And I agree with you on that aspect, but I also think, like, when we raised our kids, like, we taught them, like my kids were doing laundry at the age of 10 and 11 and 12, and they were perfectly fine. I think there's a way of teaching them to do things and not abusing them.
But you did not grow up the way I did because you were already gone.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You did not come home every day and clean.
Well, I think
and that's why on the weekends I was with you guys because it let me be.
So we're like, you're not referring to JR. You're referring to the other one. Okay,
there is stuff later on.
Exactly.
Like JR was just one of my stepfathers.
Exactly.
How many stepfathers have we really had? If you think about it,
I just had two.
Well, I mean, just two.
I had JR and Fred. That's it. That's all I had.
I mean, technically, Fred was our stepdad too. Technically, because our kids knew Fred as Grandpa.
Yeah.
So technically, but we didn't grow up with him in our home.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, but you guys weren't there.
Exactly. That's what I just said.
And that's why, like, the way I raised my kids were a little different, but Like, that's why when I came over to your house, I always escape to your house on the weekends because, like, I want to love on your kids. I want to.
You want to live in a clean house.
Yeah, it was clean. You guys fed me. Like,
but I feel
I had to feed myself.
Yeah.
I had to take care of myself. And,
but that's what I was going to say.
Maybe that's why I could be a little more with my kids. Like, oh, if my son's like, hey, Mom, make me some food. Okay, I'll make you food.
Because you never had no one to do it.
Yeah. Like, I am that person that they could rely on because I didn't have anybody to rely on. Because, I mean, if I didn't come over to your house, it was just me.
Yeah.
I had the older siblings living with me, but I couldn't rely on them.
Well, the point that I was thinking, there's difference between, you said chores. I feel like you were basically the housekeeper.
You didn't have chores.
I don't think you had chores. I think you were the housekeeper, the person that cleaned the house. Because no one else.
Yeah.
There was no one else
in the house.
No one else is
cleaning.
cleaning.
We would go to the dollar store. I would try to find stuff to make. I decorated the house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you tried to make it into a home.
You were like the mother of the house. You were like the house owner.
Me so many times because I would blast the music while I was cleaning the house because of the neighbor.
Yeah, you weren't.
I was not.
You weren't a child.
I was not a teenager.
You weren't a child. You were not. You were like the adult in the house.
You were the only. You were the only. I would have to say you were the adult while they were out playing.
My own dinners. Like, I did not have anybody.
You were a child living in an adult body.
You know
what was happening.
And you know another thing that just irritates me.
For once, it would be nice to have someone take care of me.
Yeah. So this is the thing I thought about a lot. I was like, all this time, like, if you think about it, Mommy had you living in the house, and she had someone to clean the house for her. Mm-hmm. Also, she got a state check because your father died.
Yep, she got
the money, and it wasn't until like, because sometimes you wanted to stay at our house. Okay, before you turned 18, you wanted to stay at our house, and she would never allow it.
Mm-hmm. She would fight us on it. She thought we wanted your money.
She thought we wanted. Yeah, we wanted your money. Yeah. But my point is,
we would fight with her. We were like, keep the money, leave her here with us.
Exactly. We would say that to her often.
I was 18.
It was not until you were 18
is when she let you stay.
She's like,
no, she didn't let me. She didn't want me to move. I came home Christmas Day from your house because you guys dropped me off. Carmen dropped me off. Walked in. My older brother sitting on the couch. My sister's husband sitting there drinking his coffee. Dog shit is under the Christmas tree. And I was just like, where's my mom? Oh, she's visiting Fred's family. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? And I start cleaning. Got in an argument. Tried to hit me. I called the cops. And then you came and got me. And then you've been telling me to live with you. And I was just like, I'm done. I can't live here anymore. And that's when I tried to move out. They wouldn't even let me take my stuff. Mm-hmm. My stuff that I had in my bedroom was donated from my friend. It was her brother's old bedroom set. And I couldn't even take it because they were trying to block me. Mm-hmm. They did not even want me to leave. But
they took your money every month.
They took my money.
And they went to the casinos and stuff like that. Did you ever, can I ask you something? Did you ever really get any money or anything like that? Or any kind of allowance? Or like, hey, you cleaned the house, you cleaned up after the dogs, hey, you know.
I got like $1 or $2 in the morning when I was going to high school to stop at the store to get like chips and a drink. Because that's nothing, my food.
But nothing for taking care of the animals or anything like that.
I didn't get anything.
But you had this state check coming in.
She was nice enough to get me the graduation gift to go to Disney World. That was it. And like my graduation
but your money paid
party, but that was it. But I was also I was 17 at the time. Mm-hmm. I wasn't 18 when she got me that stuff.
Well, I mean, I think when you graduate high school, you're supposed to do something for your kids anyway. Yeah. And I guess that's probably one of the best things that she probably did for you. Because there's not a lot, like we talked about this before, and I don't think this, and I mean, I know that you mentioned it before, I have mentioned it before, that Mommy, you know, she never hugged us.
No.
She never, like, we were never embraced with a hug or anything like that.
And even if you got like a hug, it was not a sincere, like,
I don't even think, but to be honest with you,
like that could be why when you guys try to hug me, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think,
like, why hugging me?
But you know what's really weird is that she was very loving to her animals because her animals lived in her bed with her. Mm-hmm. You know, and that
she had a bed.
Well, Angel. What are you talking about? I'm talking about after. I'm talking about
later on, yeah. But like when we were younger, we didn't have beds. We didn't. I mean, in the projects we had beds, but Lester Street, forget it. You guys joked that I had the bed for a little bit. We had a back bedroom. I had the bed.
But you may not know this. You don't know that Brandy and I, we put 2 metal chairs together and pulled the insulation from the roof and slept on fiberglass. Oh my God. We didn't know. We woke up and we had like
fiberglass in our skin.
Yeah,
because
we had no idea that
we just
it was
wanted something
fiberglass.
cushion because we were sleeping on the floor.
We were looking for cushion.
So this was so stupid that we did the stupidest thing. We put the chairs, the two metal chairs facing each other like this. We got the windows, like the pieces of windows, right? We laid those down on the chair, and then we put the fiberglass on top of it.
And then we just tried to spoon each other because we both needed to fit on the chair together.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we were trying to snuggle and be on the
and you want to talk about
insulation.
Trying to get that stuff out.
And yeah, we had fiberglass all over us.
So besides the hoarding, I mean, we were neglected. The animals were neglected. We lived in an unsafe environment.
Our entire lives.
Our entire life.
And I'll be honest with you, and I know I'm not saying it's happening to you, but I know that I was exposed to some sex stuff.
Myself
and
also.
That's also neglect, you know, that we weren't taken care of and we weren't protected, you know, so it was an unsafe environment. You know, we were not protected. We were neglected.
Sexual abuse, sexual contact.
There's just so many levels to really our story and everything that we have gone through, you know, and like you said, we really focused today on the different animals that we had and everything like that. And honestly, I really hope if, you know, anything comes out of, you know, our podcasts and stuff like that, besides helping people, that people will go back and give to animal shelters. Animal shelters, they accept towels. If you have old towels, old blankets, old sheets, go to your animal control.
Dog food.
Yeah, unused dog food. You know, give your animal, you know, SPCAs and stuff like that, some things that you're just getting rid of, because it will really help out animals that are needed.
I know, like, my kid's stepmom, she volunteers in, like, you know, the animal shelters, and like, that's great, but I wouldn't be able to do that because it's such a trauma. It's like a trigger trauma. Like, I would lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm trying to hold back tears because, like,
you think about those animals.
It is. It's a lot. Sometimes I wonder if Mommy loved her animals more than she loved us.
I would definitely have to.
But they were also neglected. So.
Yeah, but no, I definitely would have to agree. Not her favorite.
Yeah.
She always had her favorite. There was always she had at least one of her favorite dogs, and once that dog died. Listen, this is wait. I have to say this. At the time that we didn't know she had 50-something dogs. Okay, I remember being on the phone with her, and she said to me, she goes, you know, this one dog just went missing, and we can't find the dog or anything like that. And I can't.
3 days later,
I can't remember the dog. What's the dog's name?
I don't know. But it was in front of the fireplace.
So the dog had passed away, and the dog was sitting like this for 4 or 5 days, just sitting beside the fireplace, and the dog was dead the whole time
because she had so much shit and hoarded.
And she didn't notice
so many dogs.
Yeah. She didn't even know, or the dog that they had. We're talking about hoarding. She had cases of soda and stuff like that, and one of the cases of soda fell over and killed a dog. You know, I mean, just like
the door is what killed baby.
One of her favorite dogs. You know, because they, you know, taking doors off bedrooms and stuff like that. There's dysfunction. You know, this door fell on the dog, and the dog died. It's just stories after stories. There's so much. Like, you know, layers and layers.
You didn't learn a lesson.
Yeah.
You didn't learn a lesson. You continue to do the same shit. And you continue to hurt animals, and you continue. Why? Because you're looking for love. You had love in front of you, and you chose not to accept that.
Exactly.
Love.
So my question lies with both of you. Why do you think Mommy allowed all of this to happen to us?
You know what? I think because Mommy was first, her father died when she was 3, and I think her mother was never, her mother lived at the bar. She lived at the bar, and I think Mommy was sexually abused, you know, she was molested and everything like that, and I think that she had a lot of physical abuse and stuff like that, and she wanted to get out of her mother's house so early, and she was only 17 when she married my dad. And then she never got the help. She never talked to, you know, a counselor or anything like that. So she didn't know. And I think the reason why she had so many kids is because she thought, the more that I'll have, the more that maybe, you know, will love me or whatever like that. She never had.
But you can't expect love if you don't give love.
Yeah, but I don't think she was ever given love. I mean, I'm talking about when she was a child. So she didn't know how to give love because she was never taught it.
But you're saying
We didn't get it, but
But do you see? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You're saying that if she.
But the thing is that we wanted better for ourselves and stuff like that, and we knew what we were missing out on. That was our biggest thing that we wanted.
Yeah.
So that's why
we broke the cycle. That's
Yes.
not what I'm saying. But you're saying that she had so many kids that she wanted love.
Like she thought the more kids she would have, that would be more people that would love her and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But she never felt love.
Army.
Yeah.
She never, Tracy. But that also it's her hoarding thing. She grew up. She had no one. She had nobody. Like us.
But if you're not loving on someone, how do you think they're going to love you back?
Tracy, I have no clue. But what I'm saying to you is that see how we're sitting here and we're talking and everything. We have each other.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving her a free pass. Definitely not giving her a free pass. But she had no one.
Yeah.
So she grew up with, no parents, and she got married early. And then from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship, then she had all these kids. Then she had all these animals and stuff like that. She was always in searching, because she never had, we gave her love, but
she didn't know how to accept it.
She didn't know how to accept it. I know it's really hard to understand. And maybe we don't understand because, we didn't live her life.
No, what I don't understand is like she's seen what he put us through and she just allowed it. So
she also was going through the same abuse, like different kind of abuse.
I get that, but
so when you're with a narcissist, you don't realize how you feel stuck.
And I get
the
that,
thing is
but
JR, I have to say, is the one that really abused mommy a lot. Like I'm saying, punching her, hitting her, beating her up and stuff like that. That happened a lot. We would come home from school and the house was totaled. And we already knew what that meant.
Jokes were made.
And holidays were ruined. And that's where I say he falls under the narcissist. Am I saying that right? For sure, because, every holiday, if it wasn't about him, every birthday, no matter what.
But it's the love bombing. Mommy could have had those moments where she's like, I'm leaving. But then if that person's love bombing you, you're like, oh man, everything's great again. He's probably promised that he was going to change. Okay, let me give you another chance.
Yeah.
And then it all happened again. It's an evil cycle. And she didn't have the strength to walk away. It wasn't until he chose
to walk away
that she finally walked away.
Yeah, but can I just say something? And that's
when she cried and had her little whatever.
But can I just say something? This is another thing. This is the point that I'm making. She was in and out of relationships so quick. She got married. I mean, she
met Fred and married him within 8 weeks.
That's what I'm saying, 8 weeks. Like she was already out of the relationship within 2.5 months of her being out of a relationship with JR for 10 or 12 years. You're already in another relationship. And you guys get married,
your life,
and this is the love of your life.
Want me to stop calling this guy.
And, and after everything he put us through and put your kids through, like that's what I don't get. Like, how can you allow someone to do what he did to us, abuse the fuck out of us, torture us, beat us, lock us in a basement, and then just pick up your life and marry someone all within 8 weeks?
Yeah. That's a good, the thing is
I don't get that.
Now,
this man beat the fuck out of your kids.
And you.
Locked us up in a basement. We had to,
they're afraid to be alone. She was afraid to be alone because when you're alone, you're with your thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, you're your worst enemy.
Like I'm not even saying what he did to you, but what he did to your kids. How is that even okay?
Yeah.
And for you just to pick up your life all within 8 weeks and just get married and move on with your life, like nothing fucking exists, and then for it to take another fucking 6 to 8 years for you to even come around, to even take your rose-colored glasses off, to admit to any little bit of it, to even apologize.
There's a few things that I brought up to her, and she denied it, and that was like my last conversation. She's like, "No,
I don't remember that." Yeah, no, I don't remember that.
But she did. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. And then finally, it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But it wasn't like a full sorry. But then it was toward the end of her life, like the end of her life,
Mhm.
I'm going to say end of life, is when she like said, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And to me, that's too
I think
late.
I think that's
Yes.
I think it,
That was
yeah,
too
and
late.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
you already broke up you broke up like our relationship over the years, and then
Yeah.
With her keeping the same cycle over and
yeah,
over
when
again.
you know you're about to die and you want to make peace. I'm sorry, but it's too late for
But
that.
so
for
this
me, that was
Yeah.
my thing. Like like she never apologized to me.
Yeah.
Never. She apologized maybe to you two. I mean, I was nice to her. I was cordial to her when I did see her, but I just didn't want a relationship with her.
Because
Yeah.
but that's why I think that what is great about us is that I see Angel's point in that. I see Tracy's point and I see my own point. We're individuals. We know how to respect each other and say, hey, you know what? You have no right to feel that way. And
Yeah.
I
But our
think
older siblings, that's how they look at it.
Mhm.
We can't feel that way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, even just having a conversation just recently with them, you know, and we were just talking about like something, and you know, just a comment was made. You know, she's dead. Just let her rest in peace. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, the things that I'm talking about is part of my story of what happened to me. And if someone else can get the help that they need, or even know, hey, you are not the only one out there going through this. Someone has gone through this. And you know what? Things can get better, you know? So I think that it was we had a really good talk today and everything like that. I honestly feel like a little overwhelmed and everything
I
like
do
that. So I
too.
think that we
should call it quits for the day.
Yeah, we'll call it quits for a day. And, you know, the reason when we said thanks for the trauma, these are the hard times when you think about the trauma that you went through that you think, man, I'm not really thankful for it. But in a sense, I am thankful for it because I'm the person I am today because of the trauma that I went through.
For sure.
Thanks.
Thanks for the trauma. Thanks for joining us today.